When last did you do something that went south and you made a mistake that you haven't forgiven yourself of? Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm verakenechidibie, and our last episode was on forgiveness. So today we're talking about self-forgiveness. You cannot forgive others if you haven't forgiven yourself. And I know what it means to make mistakes that you think you cannot rise above of, or make mistakes that have caused other persons certain degree of pain, and you totally feel so responsible, and you let guilt eat away at your beautiful soul. It happens. I know I have had certain experiences in the past where my decisions had hurt others. And every time I see them in pain, I'm like, oh, I was responsible for this. I should have done better. If only I had. If only I had not done this. If only I had done that. I mean, the story goes on and on and on. But there is something, an antidote to all of this, and that is self forgiveness. You must learn to forgive yourself. It's such a beautiful life skill because, I mean, what is life without mistakes? We make certain mistakes that go against our core values as persons, mistakes that hurt other persons. And truth be told, sometimes we can punish ourselves so hard because we feel like we made a mistake. But I mean, mistakes are part of life. On the other hand, what you do with that mistake is what's important. I see mistakes as platform for learning. You make a mistake, you get up, you dust yourself, and you go back and try again. So, how do you move on? When you find yourself in that situation where you feel like, oh, I made a mistake, you learn to forgive yourself. I actually go as far as saying, I call my name Vera, I forgive you. You made that mistake out of ignorance. You made your mistake because you didn't know better. Or you made that mistake because you didn't listen to advice. And that is one thing that aches me. You feel so sad about it. If only I had listened, if only I had done the opposite. But well, that's life. You have to move on. So here are practical tips on how to move on from that spot. If you, for whatever reason, find yourself in a place where you feel so guilty about certain things or decisions, I'll just give you like a 5-step guide on how you can move on from that spot where you are. First of all, you have to acknowledge the guilt. Don't dodge. Some of us know how to dodge, sha. Like it's not my problem, or it was not me, it was that person. You know how to blame somebody else for things that had gone wrong. Some persons don't know what it means to take responsibility. They think it is the fault of the other person. It's always another person's fault. Take responsibility. Acknowledge the guilt. The next thing you need to do is watch out. What are those things that trigger the guilt? Maybe your actions had caused pain, maybe physical or bodily pain to someone, and when you see someone in pain, it triggers your memory about how you had done something that had caused another person body pains or body harm. Now, when you recognize that trigger, I just need to say, like, oh, I remember this, but it's well. I know I was wrong, but it's well, and I forgive myself. All is well. So you just tell yourself, all is well, and I'm truly sorry for what I had done, and I just have to move on. The next thing you should do is reframe the perspective. What do I mean? Instead of saying, oh, I'm such a fool, I shouldn't have done that, any form of negative self talk, insulting yourself, making yourself feel so worthless, making yourself feel so terrible, like you are another Satan or something. Those things should not happen. Reframe the perspective. Oh, I am wonderfully made. I'll have opportunities to do better next time. Or whenever another situation comes up, I'm going to make sure that I do better. I am not going to make myself feel so guilty about this. Or I'm not going to insult myself because I know that I am worth every single goodness. Yeah, you just love up on yourself. There's no room for any form of negativity. Find joy. Even if you see someone in pain and the trigger comes back, you simply just say, oh, I am happy that I was able to learn from this mistake and I can move on from here. Don't you ever, I mean it, don't you ever begin to say, oh, I was so stupid. All the negative things you could have said, don't say that. Just rephrase the perspective. Catch yourself the moment you want to say that negative thing and rephrase it and say something positive to reinforce yourself. Number three, identify the lessons that you have learned. Wow. I remember this was something I had always learned to do. I can't remember who taught me. I learned early on in life and it has become a great life tool for me. What I do is I sit with myself and I try to think about what it is that I had done wrong, why it had gone wrong, and then what is the lesson I have learned from this situation. I mean, what is life if you cannot learn any lesson? I always tell people, you don't even need to make these mistakes. You can learn from the life lessons of others. I mean, people share their stories all the time. People tell stories about what they had done wrong or decisions they have made in the past that they wish that they hadn't done at all. So you go on and learn from situations like that. Even your own situation, you have to learn from situations. I mean, how can you let things happen and you don't learn from them? You are wasting such opportunities. Even from other person's life, you don't even need to waste it. You mean you watch somebody take a particular decision and it went wrong, and you were privileged to see it from the scratch. You were privileged to see the life of that person and see how certain decisions the person had made earlier on in life had come brought them to that particular doorstep that they are. You have to learn from it. You don't even need to waste it. Not to talk more of your own life situation. You have to learn. I mean, you can't go through life and not learn anything. You have to learn. And when you learn, use those things as tools to live your life. So, the next thing you need to do is practice forgiveness. You must learn to forgive yourself for these mistakes. What you had done, you didn't know, you weren't any wiser, and you made that mistake. I practically recite, I forgive myself. Vera, I forgive you. You didn't know any better. Now you have learned. Now you know. You won't make such a mistake again. Forgive yourself. Let go of every form of blame. Don't even play the blame game with yourself. Don't even play it with someone else. Just forgive yourself. Release your forgiveness to yourself. First of all, I forgive you. There, I forgive you. Don't blame yourself and don't let shame creep in. Shame is something that can actually steal the joy. You know, there are situations where you feel a tiny bit of shame, but it has to be like an ongoing process where you have to know that I can actually forgive myself. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I made a mistake and it's only going to get better from here. Lastly, self-care and self-love. Enjoy it, embrace it. There is no guilty feeling here. You must learn to embrace self-love. Acts of self-love. First of all, forgive yourself. Acts of self-love. Go out, chase your dreams, go out, love up on yourself. What are those things you enjoy doing? Positive things, so I'm not talking about the negative things. What are those things you love to do? Find them. Find joy again. Whatever it is that makes you feel so lovey-dovey on yourself, just go for it. And then cultivate beautiful relationship with yourself and with others. So when you have learned to love up on yourself, begin to live a good life, because it is only when you actually love yourself you can learn to love others. Do let me know. Feel free to reach out, ask your questions, and I really hope this helps you move forward in life and come unstuck, because you deserve to live a good and a beautiful and a fulfilling life. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.